Insisting on labeling something strictly is like trying to trap smoke in a bottle. It's an attempt to put something ever-changing into a tight box. This kind of labeling limits our understanding. There are countless ways to look at anything, so it's important to keep an open mind and consider all possibilities. Are you just saying what you see, or are you trying to understand why things are the way they are? Judgment is like saying, "That person is dumb," while understanding asks, "Why does this person act this way? Let me try to see things from their perspective." Judgment looks only at the final result, while understanding looks at the process that led to it. Judgment skips over the journey and jumps to a conclusion. It's the difference between seeing just the surface and exploring all the way to the core. Moreover, judgment can close doors to empathy and connection. When we judge, we create barriers, but when we seek to understand, we build bridges. For example, if someone is acting out of character or being difficult, judgment might make us dismiss them as troublesome. Understanding, on the other hand, encourages us to consider their background, perhaps uncovering stress or past experiences that influence their behavior. This shift in perspective can transform our interactions, fostering compassion and patience. In our everyday lives, this approach can lead to richer, more meaningful relationships. Instead of quickly labeling someone based on one action or characteristic, we give them the benefit of the doubt and take the time to learn their story. This deeper understanding helps us appreciate the complexity of people and situations, making us more thoughtful and considerate individuals. Additionally, this mindset can spark curiosity and continuous learning. When we acknowledge that there are endless ways to view and interpret the world, we become lifelong learners, always eager to discover new insights and perspectives. This openness not only enriches our own lives, but also makes us more adaptable and resilient in the face of change. Find a comfy spot and sit up nice and tall. You can close your eyes gently if that feels better, or keep them open if you prefer. Now, instead of looking at something specific, imagine you're turning your attention inwards, like turning down the volume on the outside world. Focus on how your eyeballs feel. Are they resting comfortably in their sockets, or are they a little tight? Maybe they feel slightly dry or moist. There might even be a very slight pressure from your eyelids. The key here is not to try and change anything. Don't force your eyes to feel a certain way. Just be a quiet observer, noticing what's there. Stay very still and keep your attention on your eyes for a few breaths. Imagine your mind is like a gentle spotlight, shining softly on your eyeballs. After a while, you might find your mind wanders. That's perfectly okay. When you notice you're thinking about something else, just gently bring your attention back to your eyeballs. Letting go of control naturally leads to fear, as one of the ego's traits is survival mechanisms. So letting go of an identity may lead to one feeling lost and into unfamiliar territory, which leads to more fear. The oneness is to be experienced rather than conceptualized. So by nature, it's not going to make sense, as the act of conceptualizing isn't an actual direct experience. Basically, when you get to that point, is when you get to that point. You will then know by way of direct experience rather than contemplate the idea of it. It's like never eating a cheeseburger before. You can imagine the possibilities, read descriptions, watch videos, but none are a direct replacement for actually tasting it for yourself. Whenever things are incomprehensible, that's just a sign of not being ready for it. For when you are ready, then you will know. The higher truths are irrelevant to the current level attained, so it's like worrying about college coursework when you're still in the first grade. When you get there is when you get there, and it will make more sense when you're actually experiencing it. So the things that might not sense now will so later. It is inevitable. All rivers eventually make their way back to the ocean. The ego casting fear and doubt are the twists and turns of a river that will merge with ocean regardless. So sit back and enjoy the ride. Return to your unconditional nature by not being attached to the high-frequency state, as that's creating a condition. To be unconditional is to not have any conditions to be your authentic self. Happiness is a state of being, so needing something to be happy is already perpetuating separation and incompleteness. Be present rather than judge the present. The former is a unified state and the latter is separated, so as the egoic mind gets activated, it's causing the perception of being divided. Retain present moment awareness to not separate yourself from it. Focus more on being instead of thinking or doing. Ask yourself, how am I being right now? To get out of the thinking mind and back to your present moment state of being. Let go of the idea that triggered the emotion. It's the attachment to the idea that's causing the chain reaction. When there's no attachment, there's no reaction, thus no emotion. Shift your perspective of the idea so you're seeing it from a higher point of view. So for example, if you're viewing it from a human lens, shift to the existential vantage point, so you're seeing it from outside of the human lens. Instead of asking yourself, why me? Ask, who can I be in response to this event? You're connecting with your higher self when you're seeing everything from the top down. It's like playing a video game. You're not the character, but the one controlling it outside of the game. You can't control how others perceive you, just as they can't control how you perceive them. To completely forgive is to acknowledge that the version of you that made mistakes was operating at a lower state of consciousness and didn't know any better. By learning from it, your level of consciousness shifted higher, so you're not exactly the same as the one who acted out of ignorance. If others still identify with that version, that's on them to forgive. Recognize that everyone is at different levels of consciousness and are growing at their pace through their own free will. Love and forgiveness harmonizes the lower frequency energy. Trauma is still identifying with that energy and will eventually manifest into disease if it remains unresolved. To detach from it is to shift to a higher state of consciousness so that the old version of you that has the trauma is essentially dead. Your current version is in the here and now, so drop the old version of you to reset and renew. You can practice self-affirmations by saying, that was then, this is now. I'm not that version anymore, but it served its purpose to grow into the version I am now. Perpetually be present to continually evolve. Any attachments to the past is only going to hinder growth. The version of you a second ago is also done and over with, so you're in constant renewal. Remember, being is perpetual, but the thinking mind can pause, rewind, and fast forward, which distorts perceptions. You're never not being, so the present aligns with what you already are. Human being, spiritual being, divine being, the common denominator is being. Return to your being state to be completely detached from the idea or concept of the human experience. Trauma is all thought forms and cannot form when you're being present. Your true nature is to be, not to think or do. Imagine raising your hand, palm facing outward, with 3 fingers extended and 2 folded gently. This is called the Christogram, or blessing hand gesture. This gesture isn't just a symbol of Jesus, it tells a story about us too. The 3 extended fingers represent the Holy Trinity in many Christian traditions: Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. But here's the secret. Those 3 fingers are connected to the thumb. The thumb represents our humanity. So, this hand position shows how the divine and human can exist together.